As Mr. Barrett for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here today. Appreciate your testimony. I'm learning a little bit more about this program, along with several others that certainly VA has, and continue the mission that we owe to our veterans. I know you mentioned to the ranking member a 48-month eligibility window. That is the months of eligibility in the program, not the calendar months it would take to necessarily progress through the program. Is that fairly accurate?
That's correct.
And then an individual could be eligible for an extension of that due to a life circumstance or a geographical change or a worsening of their condition, another additional months for a new training, for maybe a new job or something of that sort.
In certain circumstances, yes, there are criteria for those extensions.
And a person may somewhat, not to compare this directly to the GI Bill, but maybe they would use 12 months of eligibility, have a break in time where they weren't using it, and then come back and use it again sometime later?
Yes, and if they still have remaining months of entitlement, they can do that.
Okay. And I know that I believe in some of my analysis before me, it said something like there were some veterans in this program for like since the 1990s, I think. Is that some of what, is that starting and stopping, or is that people getting new benefits that have been awarded to them due to a change in circumstance?
Yes, thank you for the question. So in my oversight, I've been looking at those cases, and I've been asking the regional office directors to look at those cases. And what we found is a combination of things. Some of the cases of veterans who seem to have been in for many, many years, they've been in and out of the program to the point of actually having their cases closed, where they're no longer an active case in our program, and then they come back sometimes years later and they reapply. When we look at their cases, we see the life of their participation, even if they left the program for several years and came back.
Okay, so the individual, I think from 1991 or 1992 that we were alerted to would be somebody most likely, without speaking to that case specifically, but in general would be somebody who may have had some number of benefits 30 years ago and then had time off from that, and then maybe had either a worsening of their condition, a geographic relocation, or another change of life circumstance that would necessitate them re-entering the program and reopening that up at some point more recently.
Right, without seeing the case specifically, I can't speak to that case, but yes, it could be any host of those things.
The window of time would suggest that this person had been in the program since 1990, whenever, when in fact they may have had possibly some months of eligibility then, and then some months of eligibility today, but the entirety of that would be shown up on a report somewhere.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I appreciate that background. And then could an individual use this? Is this just for upskilling, or could it be for higher education, advanced degree fields, things of that sort as well, sort of like the GI Bill?
So the way the statute is written is it's for a vocational goal. So whatever that veteran's career goal, it's the educational level that they need to be able to compete for entry into that occupation. So if that occupation that's within their interests, aptitudes, and abilities requires a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, or in some cases, non-college degree, some technical training, that would be the level of training that they would be approved for to participate in.
And is there mostly, I know we have a lot of GI Bill eligibility of differences and things like that. Is there a lot of overlap between a program that would be GI Bill qualified and would be qualified under this program as well?
Recently, actually, VRE tightened up those guidelines based on an OIG review, and the only types of training programs that a VRE counselor can authorize for a veteran must be also approved for the GI Bill. The only exception is if they want to approve a special school, it has to come up all the way to the VRE service director for review.
Okay, so it would have to, it's not the other way around though. The GI Bill doesn't have to be through VRE. The VRE would have to be a GI Bill approved institution for,
That's correct.
For qualified. Okay, do we pay the full freight for that program if it's GI Bill eligible, if you're VRE eligible?
So GI Bill has different rules in place for how much tuition can be paid for, but a VRE participant would get 100% of all tuition, books, fees, and supplies that are necessary for them to complete the program.
And the living stipend as well.
As well as the living stipend, which they can elect the Chapter 33 rate if they have that eligibility.
Okay, up to 48 months of eligibility, which could be academic months, not calendar months?
Correct, it's academic months. It's the months that they actually receive subsistence allowance.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question, in just the brief time I have available, Some of the automation that you have in the replacement of legacy systems, do you feel that that's going to offload some of your staff workload to kind of open up more bandwidth for them?
It's definitely going to help. We're already showing that it's eliminating
gentleman's
about
time has expired.
6,000 hours.
The gentleman's time has expired.